Morning. Is that working?
Morning.
Yeah, I think that's working. Glorious. Have you been looking at the images coming out of the world?
Yes.
Oh, is she good? How you doing? Good to see you. Wow. Can I see your sign up? Oh, other way round? So much more. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hey, how you doing, darling? Work. Nice to see you. You've seen the images coming out from Australia and India. The biggest protests in the world ever are happening in every city, and like as the world woke up, Sydney, Tasmania, New Zealand, everywhere, just masses.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, actually no, New Zealand comes to the end, doesn't it? Yeah. This is the Preston climate strike. And it really does look very beautiful today. Impressed. I'm not reading that aloud though, because I'm bound to pronounce it wrong. Oh, sorry. Gina Downing, our MEP. Morning, Gina.
Morning. What a fantastic turnout there is here outside the station.
Have you seen what's happening around? Oh, I saw on your Twitter you did. All of the. Oh, it took my breath away.
Not only are we making history, we're part of history. We're on the right side of history. And today, really good news. Caroline Lucas is launching a bill about the Green New Deal, which basically is explaining how we get to where we want to be in terms of green jobs, the green business and industry strategy, and actually decarbonise the economy. So it's not that this is wishful thinking. We know how to do it.
Yeah.
And people are demanding.
And the process is quite straightforward, because when you had your trip to Brussels with the youth strikers last week, they were saying, I was reading the comments, that the European members of the European Parliament were saying that your power comes from this.
Absolutely.
Your power to say this subject matters to the people because look at them, you know.
Well, exactly, because I mean the whole point here is people are out on the streets to affect decision makers, but they often don't see the decision makers. So what was really nice is the climate strikers were in Brussels, able to know and to hear directly. We are taking notice, and this whole movement over the last decade, but particularly this last couple of years, is really having an effect.
Yeah. And you're greedily taking in 2 strikes today, aren't you?
I'm here in Preston now, and I'm going up to Lancaster later on. But actually, I decided that I am going to go into the Lancashire Pension Fund Committee. They should be on strike, and they're not. But I need to be the voice in there saying that we need the finance system to change.
Yeah.
We really need to do something about the fossil fuel lobbyists who are trying to keep the status quo. I think that's such an important issue.
And divestment matters, doesn't it? Because if they've got no money invested in their products, then those products can't keep on being exploited.
Exactly. But they can put pressure on the companies to really put their commitment to environmental change into practice. You know, like big corporate companies like to talk about what they're doing for the environment. But what we know is whilst they're saying that on the outside, they're going round the back door and lobbying governments to keep the status quo.
Yeah, because you're involved in some exposure of the lobbyists as well. Yeah, busy times for you. All right, I'll catch up with you later on. Morning. Can I just take your sign? Good stuff, thank you. What an amazingly beautiful turnout.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, isn't it cool? You see the ones all over the world, it's so big. It's a really good feeling, that unity, isn't it?
Especially here in Preston, you don't really realise at least like, look at us.
Yeah.
And it's around the world, and it's like...
And it's one of the most beautiful fight backs I think I've ever seen. You know, you look at, anti-war, anti-nuclear, even us in anti-fracking, but there's nothing more beautiful than youth screaming out, and they do it so nicely. Have a good day. Morning. So the anti-fracking movement is a very big part of the climate strikes. Obviously, the climate is impacted by fracking, as is the environment you live in, closer to home. And here in Lancashire, we have Quadrilla on our doorstep. That's Gina Dowding, our MEP. I love her work and really admire good politicians. We don't have enough of them. So again, this is Preston, Lancashire. It's a mixture of youth strikers, Extinction Rebellion, the anti-fracking movement, local residents, some people turning out for the first time, others who I've seen on countless other events. It's a really beautiful event and stunning, really, when you think that, this is a very diverse group of people who have just all ended up in the same place at the same time, following hot on the heels of everyone else around the world who's been waking up to their own climate strikes. Oh, I can get up here. Morning. People from Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, local campaign groups. I'd say this, what do you reckon, 250? Maybe 200. Youth striking looks so much prettier than all the other protests ever. You guys make it look lovely. As nanas, we're really honoured to stand beside these people. Hiya, how you doing? Yeah. It's amazingly empowering to see the intergenerational mix. So good morning in Preston to the climate strikers. Today you are part of something so massive. I've been watching it unfold online. It's unbelievable. Everywhere across the world that woke up ended up somewhere that looked a lot like this, and even more. I mean, everywhere across Australia, now in India, and places across the world as they wake up are full of climate strikers. You are on the right side of history, and it's an historic moment. It's a really historic moment. If you think of all the protests that have gone before you know, anti-war, anti-nuclear, even us in the anti-fracking movement, and you look at how hard everyone tried, but it never looked this beautiful or caught this many. And I think, in my opinion, it's because as adults you cannot ignore the voice of a child, and our children are calling for our help. And I think it is so brave of you to have done that, to have stood up and said, no, we're just not going to tolerate it. We can see beyond what you can't see, and we needed to respond. I'm really honoured today to introduce in a moment our MEP for the North West, Gina Dowding, who recently took a group of climate strikers to Brussels and introduced them to the system that they need to be impacting. And I heard some of the feedback from the MEPs about that too, which Gina's going to go on to. And it was really amazing to watch the impact they had on the people who were supposed to be in power and supposed to be helping. After Gina speaks, if anybody would like to come up and have a bit of an open mic thing, we're in no mad rush. There's no mad plan. We're all on strike. It's our day. So, yeah. So feel free once we've done Gina's speech. You got one? Oh my God, we're so technically good, aren't we? Do you want to jump up now?
Yeah, try that. I'm going to see them. I think I've got a neck on.
Hello, Preston. It's so great to be here. Today, you have an absolutely significant role in a global movement. From Canberra to Hyde Park, from Washington to Delhi, and here in the Northwest. You are what is going to make the climate transition to a zero carbon economy happening. Give yourselves a round of applause. And before I forget, as Tina said, I'm the first Green MEP in the Northwest, and I just want to thank all of you and other people who had that confidence to say, yes, we need change, and we need some new ideas from the Northwest in the European Parliament, and I'm doing my best to represent you for action on the climate. And boy, is there a dynamic Green group in that European Parliament. You can be assured that day after day they are fighting for the kinds of vision that you want to see. And I have to say that your voices are being heard, as Tina said, in the European Parliament. The elections in May are now being talked about as the climate elections. So whatever you voted, your MEPs recognise that there's a need for systems change, and they're talking about it, and then what we now need to do is to make sure they act on it. So in short, I think what we're saying to the politicians, and that what they're now recognising, and whether that's in the local council over there at County Hall, whether that's in Westminster when we get it reopened, or whether that's in the European Parliament. Yeah. We want action, not words. We want systems change, not climate change. And we want a future that we can believe in, that's worth fighting for, but those changes have to start now. I think our messages today are quite simple. Our demands actually are quite simple. We've got red lines, so the government needs to listen to our red lines. Firstly, no new fossil fuels. And as loads of you here today have already been saying over the last 5 or 6 years, the shale gas industry is not welcome in Lancashire. It can pack up right now.
We really hate fracking in Lancashire.
Our second demand is we want to see an end to the existing dirty fossil fuels. We want to power down from coal and oil and gas, and we want to power up our renewables. And the technology is there, the answers are there, we just need to give them a level playing field. And what's really interesting about that
is for pound invested in renewables, you get cleaner energy and you get more jobs. So we can start to see a shift, that transition, which will actually answer some of the other crises in our society. We need jobs in a low carbon economy. And our third demand is a massive just transition across the board in all sectors, whether that's transport and sustainable transport systems, whether that's in our buildings so that we have energy efficient buildings, retrofitting, making all our homes and public buildings warm, energy efficient, and reducing fuel poverty across the board, whether that's in our land use and the way we grow our food. And finally, in the industry and the economy upon which we depend. There are so many jobs to be had in a low carbon economy, in recycling, in a circular economy, in making efficient use of our natural resources. So our demands aren't complicated. They're not difficult to achieve. What's needed is the political will. And you are the political will. You're making our decision makers and our politicians make that change. You are on the right side of history. You are history today. We are part of a global movement. This is now the end point. We really want that change. Preston, you are making it happen. Do never underestimate your power. And it's fantastic to see so many people turning out. One last message today, one last thing. I'm actually going back to Lancaster later on. You know that even across the northwest, from Liverpool, Manchester, Carlisle, there's thousands upon thousands of young people striking. Over there in County Hall today, the Pension Fund Committee isn't on strike, and I'm a member of that committee. So I'm going over there now, and I'm taking your voices with me with renewed determination today to say they've got to start listening to the message of divestment. Because I've been banging on about this, and the whole of the financial system is where we need to start to see change. They've got to divest from dirty fuels and start to invest in our future. We all know about the risks of stranded assets, but our pension fund managers are not yet taking that seriously enough. So I'll be over there, but believe me, I'll be thinking of you all and taking your energy and determination and commitment for a fairer, just and carbon-free future with me. Keep on what you're doing and maybe see you later. Thank you so much. Well done, everybody.
I'm going to open up the mic now, so if anybody'd like to come up and say a word, I understand you will.
How do you feel? Why are you here? What part of you made you come?
It's actually amazing to see how diverse everyone is.
Turn up, Jules.
Darling, is it
No,
on?
yeah, it is on.
Is it?
All the way up, has it got a green light?
Yeah.
Good.
Go for it, go.
It's actually amazing to see how diverse everyone is here, because we've got people striking from college, high school, sacrificing our education just like they're sacrificing our future on the daily, because the more carbon dioxide that's released into the atmosphere is slowly over time going to kill us. And somebody at my school said that it won't affect us. It will. It affects us right now and it will affect us in the future. The more people who strike, the more people who stand up and say something, even if you're like coming to a strike for an hour, or people like my mum's work who are striking for 30 minutes out of their day.
That's brilliant. Yay! Woo! Yay your mum! Yay your mum! Yeah, carry on. You're doing great. You might as well not stop now you found your voice. Get close to that microphone then.
Also, like this sign CO2 is in the air. We're breathing it right now, and it's natural. And the Amazon rainforest is on fire, and people have been refused. The mayor of Brazil Prime Minister of Brazil has refused money off people in France because of a petty comment he made, when really it shouldn't matter in nowadays society. when you're taking our oxygen, it may be a small percentage of the world's lungs, but each small percentage that is going away is going to affect us in the long run. It affects us right now, this very minute. There is more carbon dioxide than ever before, and it's not people saying climate change exists. The temperatures of the world's changing constantly. Well, it's not changing this much because if our oceans are warming. When our oceans warm, sea creatures are dying. The Great Barrier Reef is getting gone. Our lungs that are trees are being cut down, and if you look around right now, this place used to be filled with trees until we built over them, knocked them down, and the more trees we plant actually will give us more oxygen, because trees take in carbon dioxide, which most people know, and we should be planting trees. We should be helping the Amazon rainforest.
Who are you? Millie what? Okay, you're amazing.
Our school has shown us support today. They have let us out of school, which we think is quite a big deal.
Which school are you?
We go to Our Ladies Catholic High School.
Woo! Big up Our Ladies Catholic High School!
We have been given an unauthorised absence, but usually for skipping school we would be given more punishment. Referrals, exclusion, paying. So we are glad that our school has let us out today and not given us punishments. It shows that they support us and they know that there is problems in the world and that we might be able to raise more awareness by striking off.
Well done.
I only have 4 words, and these are this. We love this earth.
Oh.
In our schools and in our houses, we are told not to. In our schools, we are told not to set limits to our dreams. We're told to go for what we want. What if all we want is a sustainable future? A future where we can live as human beings, as what we are. Well, thank you for everyone being here today, because you're going to make our dreams come true.
Oh! Yes.
Anybody else want to speak?
Yeah, adults are allowed to speak too.
Hi, I'm a school teacher. I'm a primary school teacher.
Woo! Yay! Love the teachers. So sorry, am I keep stepping on you, don't I?
Now, please. I'm just here to address the elephant in the room. I found out about the impact of animal agriculture a few years ago on our environment, and it's truly devastating. I mean, as it stands, we're already asking people to question their ethics. We're asking them to use their cars less. We're asking them to change the fuels that they use. We're asking them to change a lot about their life. But really, it's tiny changes and it's easily done. And we can see that because we are forward thinking, we are progressive. And we dared to take the blinkers down from our eyes. We dared to remove our hands, but our heads from the sand. This is similar. Changing to a plant-based diet is really, really easy. Simple swaps. There's so much information on the internet, but it's the leading cause of rainforest deforestation. And that is huge. And yet we just carry on and pretend this doesn't happen. If you haven't watched Cowspiracy, there's so many facts there. If you don't believe a documentary on Netflix, that's understandable. Do what I did. Go away and do further research. There's empirical evidence that shows that we must change to a plant-based diet. It's our future. It's highly commendable what you're doing, and I stand by your side. I'm trying to make changes myself. I've converted to ecotricity. Am I allowed to say?
I'm not the BBC, you're safe.
Not the BBC.
Some of them still use animal manure and animal bones to produce their fuel, and for me that's not a solution to the climate crisis, sorry. So please, if you could just look at making some simple changes. Cowspiracy, Earthlings, Dominion. This isn't just the climate crisis, this is the welfare of sentient beings that are dying at a rate of 60 billion per year. And the reason we allow it to happen is because we don't see it happening. Just like we don't see the fracking happening, unless you're the nanas with banners, thank you. And you're there every day. Thank you so much. Yeah, please, just look into it if nothing else. It is the leading cause of rainforest deforestation. And that's not the only fact, there are more facts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, we're from Lancashire High School. We got told that we were having an authorised absence. I think we've got it authorised, thank you. I've prepared a little something to say. We need a change, we need it now. We want system change, not climate change. Trees are a natural solution, but they're not the only solution. This is our future. They've had their past, and now it's our chance to make a change. Across the globe, all young people are wishing for a voice, and we can't wait for the government to give it. Make a change. Fight for your future. Fight for our future.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm retired, but I've got 2 children and I'm really concerned about their future, and I don't think there's a bigger issue than the one we're talking about today. There's lots of problems in the world, but they're all irrelevant unless we get this right. And I think that we can take individual action which will make a difference, but the only thing that's really going to change what's going on here is collective action. And it's collective action not just in this area, but across the country and across the globe. And if we can get that right, it's going to make a difference. There's nothing more important. Get behind it, give it your all, let's make a difference.
Thank you. Anti-fracking Nana, surely one of you. Surely one Nana can speak.
Have you ever been forced to do something against your will? No, I've been supporting the Nanas for a few years, not as long as many of them, but it's so important, the work they've done. They've spent hours and days and weeks fighting for this cause to stop fracking, and now we've had the 2.9 earth tremor. Surely it's got to stop. And I also am retired. I'm a grandmother. I fear for my grandchildren's future. So I've got to do something for them, just as many other people have to do something for their children, grandchildren, and all the children of the world. Or they won't. There's no planet B. No planet B.
Gillian, do you want to say anything for Greenpeace?
Hi, I'm Gillian and I'm with the Blackpool Greenpeace group. There are a few from Greenpeace here today. And we've been here as well at the beginning when fracking moved into Preston New Road, and there's a lot of things to battle with, a lot of problems with fossil fuels. There's nuclear, there's coal, and we need to be taking examples from other countries like Germany, Denmark, and investing in wind power and solar and all sorts of green energies, and just moving away from fossil fuels, but we're not doing it fast enough. So I think we need to keep campaigning and growing in numbers, and hopefully one day we'll see some results, maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My colleagues and I are here from the University of Central Lancashire.
If you can put that really close, it'll work.
UCU, thank you very much. And we're very pleased and proud to join this day, just as we've stood beside you at Preston New Road against Quadrilla on those trade union action days. And I just want to keep this very brief and say, if you work for a living and you're not a member of a trade union, join one. When you've joined that union, or if you're a member of a union already, ask what your union is doing about climate justice and about just transition. Ask your union if they're affiliated to the campaign, the Green Jobs Alliance, and the campaign against climate change, which has a trade union section, because it's brilliant that we're here taking time out of the workplace, but we also need to take this message back into the workplace.
Absolutely.
Challenge our employers. What are our employers doing to reduce their carbon emissions? What are they doing to facilitate a just transition? Because without pressure from below, they won't move and they won't change. Fantastic, brilliant to be here.
Brilliant of you, thank you.
Hiya, I just wanted to quickly say I hope everyone's registered to vote. It's so important. Obviously action like this is really crucial, but if we're not voting and we're not getting this parliament out who don't care, this government don't care about climate change. They've shown it through allowing fracking, despite all of the local hard work from the fracking nanners, from all these local movements and communities that will be affected the most by climate change, working class communities. They've ignored our voices, they don't care. So as well as action like this, make sure you vote in and get this government out.
Woo!
You probably haven't heard of a breed called a youth worker. That's what I actually do, voluntary, working in schools. And one of the things I'm fed up of is adults. What we should actually be listening to, Greta Thunberg spoke before Congress. And I know there's many people here with choices about being a vegan, about being everything. But remember, if we're going to win the community over, we've got to work with the community. Whatever political allies they are, whatever they are. But the one thing we've got to start is in education. Education is the main thing. And listening to the young lady that she spoke before, unless we are politically aware of what's going on, and if we're frightened about being politically aware, don't get involved. I've listened to the MEP, I respect it, but all you get is political claptrap about what's going on, what's happening. At the end of the day, young people are the people now. They're not the future, forget about it. And I think also there's people of our age group, we get slagged off sometimes, and we are supporting a lot of young people. This is about all generations working together. And unless we do that, we won't
succeed. Stop. Go, get close to it, love.
Okay, I'm the North West Regional Rep for Amnesty International. Amnesty International are an organisation fighting for human rights around the world. Unless we stop the climate change and the waters rising, then there are going to be no humans to fight for human rights. The seas rising are going to mean that people are going to be displaced from their homes. They're not going to have the human right to clean water. They're not going to have the human right to safety. They're not going to have the human rights to family life. They're not going to have the human right to for food and for roof over their head. So there are lots of reasons why we should be doing this, and one of them is to fight for our rights as a human to live safely and happily in a home with our family. Thank you.
We need to stop blaming people in today's society. We can't blame anyone because blame isn't taking action. We need peaceful protests like this one to convince our world leaders, governments and mass-producing companies to reduce the amount of fuel and waste produced. They can't keep on denying that global warming and climate change aren't real. At the end of the day, it's our future that we are fighting for, and we need change. Our world needs to adapt to a new way of living.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd just like to echo a few things. I'm a primary teacher.
Woo! Love the teachers! Well, not all of them, but you know.
I went to my boss on Monday and said I was planning to go on the climate strike, and I was quite disturbed that my boss didn't seem to know a huge amount about it, so hopefully she does now. I was also quite disturbed to know that as a teacher I'm not really allowed to have a political agenda in class, and obviously I'm not allowed to politicise children, but I do my best to do it in a roundabout sort of way. I'd like to agree with the gentleman, wherever he was, he's disappeared, who said education is really important, and I think it is. Where is Terry? Thank you, Terry. Education is really important, and I think education is one of the ways that we're going to get out of this mess. And my heart was warmed this morning because I had an email from a head teacher, from a child at the school. One of the parents had emailed this in to the head teacher. It's something that this child had written. They're in year 4 at the school that I work at, and they feel very strongly about climate change, and I think they wanted to share this in their assembly this morning And I'm just happy to be able to bring it here and share it with you today. So these are the words of, just find, Tyler J. Naylor, who is in Tiger's class at Woodley Junior School in Leyland. And he begins with, I have one voice, but with your help I could have more. I haven't really got into it yet, so let me begin with saying climate change is a big thing at the minute, so why don't we help as a school by educating the children? This could have a huge impact, and the children could educate their parents, grandparents and so on. There's a really big chance of climate change happening, and a really low chance of it not happening, but I'll get into that at the end. I want less meat to be consumed because it has a big impact on the planet. I was thinking, sorry, as a teacher I have to say, I was thinking. I were thinking of vegetable dinners and only have meat on certain days. Eating meat impacts our carbon footprint. The first thing is using less plastic. We can do this simply by not drinking bottled water and by having your milk delivered by the local milkman. We can pick up all of the litter we see or find the nearest bin and go put it in. It's that simple. Now I'm running out of time, so let me tell you the big thing. The polar ice caps are melting because of the sun and pollution causing damage to our atmosphere. But maybe we could slow it down. By the ice caps melting, many parts of the world will be devastated, but here is how we can help. Plant a tree. Trees turn carbon dioxide into oxygen. Use less plastic. Don't buy bottled water. Use a refillable bottle and fill it with tap water. Get milk delivered from your local milkman, as mentioned before. Eat less meat. Meat has a huge impact on our carbon footprint. Save electricity. Turn lights off when you're not using them and invest in energy-saving light bulbs. Walk more. Using cars pollutes the planet and impacts global warming, so walk whenever it's possible. Try walking to school. Save water. Turn off taps when brushing your teeth and take showers instead of baths. There are many more things that we can do to help prevent climate change. So now is our chance to come together as one to prevent climate change. Thank you.
As a 15-year-old today, I find that it's very scary looking towards the future of the planet and what's going to happen. We have no idea like how to fix it ourselves or anything. And as children, adults tell us that it's our responsibility to fix it when we have no idea how we are going to. It's going to be even worse in the next generation. Our children are going to be even more scared, and we feel unsafe in this world where like everything is just changing constantly, and things are going bad, and like biodiversity is just being destroyed by us, and it's all caused because of humans mainly, and we don't know how to fix it or how to stop us causing it.
So, as a 15-year-old again, we're from Whatleydale High School, and we are extremely fortunate that our head teacher on such short notice has come and let us here. But I am scared for my generation, and we are the last generation that can change this around. If we pass this planet on to the next generation, God knows what will happen. You never know.
You're right.
And we, as a young generation, I feel like we should have the right to vote to stop fracking and have a vote.
Okay, I'm seeing less hands now. So, what we did the last couple of strikes was we went for a walk through town so everyone realised what we were here for. Can I mention that as we are intergenerational, that the young at the front go bounding like young gazelles, and many new hips behind get left behind. So let's try and keep in pace if we can. And then I think it was just a stroll, and then we go to the square, and then come back round to LCC if everyone's happy with that idea. It's what we've done the last couple of times. Can I just say one thing, because when the young 15-year-old girl has just lost from my view, was speaking just now, and she said, it's us. And it is us, but it's not us, is it? Because we're all standing here trying to make sure that it's not us, that it isn't us that carries on this problem. And that no matter how much we stop drinking the bottled water and how much meat we give up, in the end there are people in power who, at the flick of a switch and a quick piece of legislation, can take out chunks of the problem that would take us many decades to eat into. So it is constantly got to be that pressure. And as the MEP said, when those MEPs were talking to the youth strikers last week, they said that without you outside, we couldn't have got half the stuff done that we're doing. And the lady, one of the ladies said, you opened doors I've been trying to open for a decade. That people now have to open their office door and say, all right, we'll talk about this now. So never underestimate the power of this and us coming together. And I'd just like to suggest we give ourselves the biggest round of applause for being what looks like the most beautiful, diverse group of humanity. And I just think it's amazing how we've all come together today. And we'll set up.
I'm on really low battery. Right, so I'm going to turn this off now and then pick this back up because it's gone on for much longer than I imagined it would. Okay, no glasses. Electrifying. Somewhere's the stop button, isn't there? Oh, there it is. I was going to get a young person.